Joining us this week is Royal YouTube commentator Paula M. So happy to have you, Paula. Thank you so much. We're so excited for you to weigh in on some of these topics that are going around this week. And in last week's Us Weekly cover story, a source told us of Harry returning to the UK that Charles was extremely touched by Harry's gesture. And it appears that Meghan is actually on board with mending fences. A source told us that Meghan has contacted Kate and Charles, so moves are being made to reconcile. Meghan is supportive of Harry and all of this, and she wishes the royals, Kate included, the very best. However, Harry's connection to his older brother remains strained, with somebody saying William loves Harry, but the past few years have been very difficult for him. And the sad reality is that it's impossible for him just to forget all those spiteful and vindictive attacks Harry made against him and the monarchy. So, Paula, what do you think about all this? Do you think that since Harry returned to the UK, that this is the step in the right direction? What would you like to see?
Well, thanks. So first of all, it's a trip to be here. Thanks for having me. I am Canadian, and I started my YouTube because I see a lot of things that are not right, because the monarch is the head of state of Canada. So I usually started it because there are so many things that were not right, you know. So in regards to that, I don't see that happening, because maybe as a family member, of course, because that is his son, right? That King Charles is, I'm not talking of him as a monarch right now. I'm talking of him as a father, which is a big distinction there. As a father, clearly he has every right to, to try to do whatever he can to unite his family. However, as a monarch, I don't think he can bring Harry back as a working royal. I believe that the damage that they've done is in such massive scale, and we have yet to hear an apology, because all the things that they said, as soon as they left the monarchy, and the word they used is fled, as though they were in some sort of prison. And I keep reading it on the newspapers, Catherine, I go, they fled the United Kingdom, my freedom flight. Harry and claiming that his father and his brother are in prison in the United Kingdom, and that, I mean, that is so preposterous. And the funny thing is that they haven't stopped using the titles of that institution, of an institution they claim has damaged them beyond repair, to the point that they not only left the country, they left the continent. You know what I mean? It doesn't add up at all. So and Catherine, who was nothing but gracious to Prince Harry, she was horribly targeted by him and Meghan. And then we have Omid Scobie, who leaked the two names, and then the first thing that Harry does, Mr. Privacy, Mr. Environmental, he goes and sees the king, but he makes sure that the press and everybody knows every step of the way, which flight is coming, when he's going, what he's done, and then on the way back and on the way, it is such hypocrisy. It's baffling to me. I mean, it is baffling to me, to tell you the truth, that people think that anybody will look at Harry and Meghan with any trust whatsoever, because anything that's said to them immediately spread out all over the news worldwide. And they twist it around too. I mean, publishing that very private information when the late Queen, when the Queen passed, between him and his father. I mean, I don't know. If he were my son, there's no way back there.
Right. Well, you brought up a point before too, and Christina, I want to get your take on this, because I know the Times cited a royal source, and they claimed that there have been some conversations about maybe Harry coming back into the royal fold now that the king is undergoing treatment, about taking on some royal duties. Do you foresee this ever happening?
I really struggle to see this happening. I think that Prince Harry has maybe realized that the monarchy was, his role in that was really part of a greater good, and it was part of an incredible machine to promote these projects. He's probably seeing that a lot of the charitable work, a lot of the projects he's trying to promote right now are not getting the same platform, because he is no longer part of that royal family. And I think maybe he is starting to see, okay, wait, maybe that was the right role for me. Perhaps I could do more good, and I could have a larger influence if I was a working member of the royal family. We're also seeing it's undeniable that with the Princess of Wales recovering, with the king receiving treatment, that there's a huge gap now in the royal family, that it would have been amazing years ago if none of this had ever happened, if Harry and Meghan could have really sort of picked up the slack that we're seeing right now. And so I think there's a lot of things going on where people may be realizing, oh, it would be really great if we did have Harry back. I just think it's as Paula said, he's already said so much that it would be so difficult for him to step back into that role and say, you know I said that this was toxic and I was fleeing the country like a refugee, but actually now I realize maybe it is a good idea. It'd be so difficult for him to do that. The British public would really question it. But what's interesting is that there's absolutely no conversation about Meghan re-entering the royal fold, because I think Meghan both doesn't want it, but knows that she wouldn't be welcome. Whereas I think Harry is almost like testing the waters. He's trying to see, with these stories, with these conversations, could I step back into that position?
Right. Well, you make an interesting point too with Harry's recent Good Morning America interview with, I love my family. I'm going to go out there and see them as much as I can, which is a total about face from where we were at this point a year ago.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we all want, from a family standpoint, we all want them to find a way to heal, because no one wants these families to be sort of broken up in these fights and all this anger and hatred towards each other. And so it would be nice to think that they have sort of made up behind closed doors, that there has been some sort of reconciliation. But again, to what Paula said, it is sort of difficult without any sort of public apology or statement, which we're unlikely to get from the royal family. So we sort of have to believe what Harry and Meghan say, which is also really difficult. Without that sort of openness about reconciliation, it's hard to trust that he's genuine.